It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
Welcome one and all to episode 177 of the Andy and Rem Show. Those of you who like to play along with the Are Remington's Blinds Open or Closed game at home, I can tell you exclusively that everyone is a loser, because tonight, Remington is late. Dun dun dun. And as we remove the thumbnail, you can clearly see that there is no Remington except for this beautiful replacement portrait that I've put in the corner there. See, that's what it looks like when all of us are together harmonious. But then Remington has to go and spoil all that by running out of petrol and something to do with a dog. There's a list of excuses that he sent me on WhatsApp a while ago. Let's see exactly what he says. Yeah, he's taking a dog somewhere and run out of petrol, apparently.
Yeah,
Classic
he might be
Remington.
sometime.
He could be. So we're going to start without him, and he's going to drop in and presumably start singing the instant he pops into the show. But he'll mess up my entire screen presentation, so in anticipation of that, I've got this prepared. This. Technical difficulties going to take over the whole screen as soon as Remington turns up, and then I can rearrange things. So, got Annie, obviously. Hello.
Hello,
And
it's
apparently,
me.
you're running a Kickstarter, and did you see that live? It just jumped up to £5,999. Just ticked over live on air.
£1 more pound.
Look at those pounds. So you're doing a Kickstarter.
Yes, so if you have not seen me on the show before, I am Annie Norman. I run Bad Squiddo Games, and we do loads of female minis and little critters and little terrains for all sorts of things. And we have a Kickstarter that launched tonight. So, look at it on that 5,999. So yes, it's called Definitely Not Damsels. If you're familiar with Bad Squiddo, you'll know that we sort of our main deal is women with clothes on in 28mm.
What?
Sacre bleu.
What a wild concept.
What? Yes. This is madness. I'm very yawny, so I apologise in advance. I've also got a cape on and a scarf, as I've been working all day on the Kickstarter.
And is
then
it
after the
true?
Kickstarter,
Is it true that you were up at 5 a.m?
This is true, yes. And was it 5 when I looked at the show on YouTube and it said show begins in 15 hours? And I thought, oh, I've got 15 hours before that.
15 hours to do as much Kickstarter work as possible.
It flew by, flew by.
But doesn't it make it all worth it now when you see £5,999?
It does, yeah, that's super cool, especially as I'm dead, because it's kind of like that can all do its thing now. But unfortunately, I do have to plough on with the rest of it, because people go, you can relax now. No, not the Kickstarters. You have to kind of keep the word, not spinning the plate. Sort of like, it's like keepy uppy as
You gotta
a
keep the
sport
ball in the air,
connoisseur.
yes.
You've got to keep the ball in the air with your knees, so you can't stop, or the ball falls.
As soon as the ball touches the ground, everyone withdraws their pledge.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll obviously be having a bit of a lie-in tomorrow, but then it's back to plugging away because it finishes on Sunday, so it's only a 5-dayer, which is mostly unheard of. People doing them for a month or 2 weeks. I usually do fairly short, usually like 10 days, but I've just thought 5 days for this one. So thus increasing the get in or miss out fears.
Yes, manipulating the customer base there. Smooth strategy. So, while we're still waiting for Remington, just before you take us through all these miniatures one by one and fine pieces of work they are, I'm going to see who we've got in the chat tonight. It's quite a packed house, and I would encourage them to like this video as well. I can see that not even half of them have done yet. So usually when I say that, a couple more pop up, so I'm going to keep my eye on that. There's one. So we've got the likes of Felicity Keane, Zato, Thomas Hartman, Headhunter Store, Trowling Badger. We've got Ground Ginger in there. We've got Graham Rigg. We've got Carla Morera. We've got Battle Knights. We've got Sean Blake. We've got Lash Lightning, Cedar. We've got Green Stuff Games, making a long-awaited return to the world and YouTube. And there we go. So I want to hear if anyone's pledged on this from the audience. How heavy have you gone in on this? What are you hoping to get for your pledge? Which miniatures grabbed you and pulled you in financially? So while they're getting those comments in, do you want to take us through? Let's start with Gwen and Evie here.
Yes. So they're mostly, I've just got to look it up on here now. They're mostly human on this Kickstarter, although there's a few non-humans sort of thrown in there. So let me just bring this up because it's done the old low quality thing. Have a look. See, I was relying on Rem just asking loads of questions about nothing to fill in the airtime.
Yeah, you didn't have to. You didn't think you were actually going to have to talk about your products.
To be fair, I didn't. I thought it'd mostly be Rem talking about stonks. Hang on a sec.
Either that or Rem asking, so Annie, have you ever thought about doing a really massive squirrel? At which point you'd say, yes, I've already got 3 of them. And you'd go, oh, I didn't know. That Rem, you've had years to look at badsquiddos.com to find that they've got giant mutant squirrels already.
Hope that he pops up so I can peer pressure him live to back the Kickstarter as well, because I don't think he's ever backed a Squiddo starter.
I don't think he has as well. I think he needs to put some of Remington's millions where Remington's mouth is, personally.
Exactly. So we've got a bunch of different, that sort of generic-y, dungeon crawly type tropes, and then there's a few that aren't tropes, but they're kind of cool, so they're thrown in there. So these top 2 are Shane's, who sculpted a lot for us. He did all the Amazons and Dwarves, so they're all that same sort of style. What I like about them is that the majority of the figures here are all one piece, which has become a bit of a staple for us as well, because I like the figures to be able to be played with, which I realised actually sound like a big sass at other miniatures. But there's obviously a big difference between sort of gaming pieces and some where they're absolutely beautiful, but they're a million different pieces, and if you wobble the table, they just shatter to the ground. So I'm always trying to find a nice somewhere in the middle where the model looks great, but it can also be bashed about a bit and it not be a disaster, which is also really good for new painters as well, if that's like adults coming to it fresh or children. There's less to go wrong, basically. There's no bits you can knock off.
Can you pledge now that at no point in the future will a Bad Squiddo miniature ever require the nose to be glued on separately?
No, I can't. They might have a really long nose.
You're thinking like some kind of troll? Or a witch with a super
like
nose?
A Pinocchio thing. But then it probably still would have the same nose.
So you can't promise us on this show that you won't ever have to stick on a nose?
Can't promise, it's highly unlikely. I feel like I'd be caught out, and then years down the line there'd be a scandal where they bring this interview back up, and then I'm cancelled for lying about
and rightly so.
Nosegate.
So before we start going through the rest of these, clearly, oh my goodness, look at that. He's totally ruined my... Hold on, let me just drag him into position here.
It's nice. He's nice, yeah.
There we go. We've got a Remington in his slot where he belongs.
I don't have to talk anymore. I was having to talk because you weren't here, Rem.
And now he's left already.
He's gone. Be back.
Okay, here he is. Welcome, Mr. Remington.
Hello.
Did you find some petrol, or did you get rid of a dog?
I did. I did. I rolled a 6 at Sainsbury's petrol station, and there's only one car in front of me. And
Oh,
when I finished filling up, there was about 20 cars behind me.
uh,
So
I
I
did
just
fear that this could be a whole evening task for you, so I'm glad you
so I'm so
worked it
relieved
out.
because
Well,
I have to travel to work each day, so I was, yeah,
I'm going to
fine now.
scroll to the top now just to show Mr. Remington where we are here. £5,999.
Why hasn't it gone up?
And
Why
by the
hasn't it
way,
Oh
gone
my
up?
just
god,
for
that's
anyone wondering,
amazing.
just because on this browser it tells me that I haven't backed this project yet, that is actually a lie because I have backed it, just logged in a different browser. But we've just jumped above
It's gone over,
£6,000
it's gone
there.
over. Which is
I'm
now 200% as well.
I need to get on YouTube and actually watch the show. Oh, what, £6,000? We only needed 3,000. That's amazing.
Already. It's how
Already.
many hours now? 4 hours it's been up?
Something like that.
Yeah, but that's scary now because now you've got to do twice as much work,
No.
isn't
I
it?
just make up I just make up stretch goals wherever. Sorry. I
Well,
swear I shouldn't do sleepy interviews.
well
I mean,
now
there's a really delicate, fine balance of figuring things out. I don't just draw them out of a hat.
now that
That's
the
all.
now that the Remster is here, so you don't have to do this whole bit again. Would you like to go through like the pitch for this Kickstarter specifically?
Okay.
Like what is
It's
definitely not Damsels?
well, it's definitely not damsels. So it's 28 mil female models, fantasy, very much sort of role play figures with that sort of standard tropes that you get, so, like a healer, a caster. So there's bits of that. There's a lack of a lot of these figures where they actually have clothes on, or just a bit of variety really. So they're all in fighting gear,
Mm.
and they're just usable for so many different fantasy games. You can use them for wargaming, tabletop like role play, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. Or you can just paint them because they're really nice. And
Nice.
I'm really pressed. Go back. As I wasted a lot of time making that image above. Yes, the heart one with all the little
The
faces
heart.
on
Oh,
it.
that one. Oh, is that
Oh,
supposed to
that's
be a
cool.
heart?
Well, kind of. It's a kind of heart diamond thing.
That's really
But
creative. How did you do that with
was this
Photoshop?
evening going, because I was trying to get a picture of. I usually get a picture of everything together, and I've got a lot of them are photographed from different angles. I didn't have time to re-photograph them, so if I just show a bit of them together, it gives you a gist, so at a glance you can see what there is.
Cool
But one of
idea.
the reasons I'm knackered is I've been building the Kickstarter, and because of juggling a million other things, I've been non-stop for at least the last week. And Andy can confirm my going to work, sleeping, going to work, and zombieing around.
It's true.
Um,
Yeah.
Working out all of the pledges, the add-ons, the bundles, so doing all the maths, figuring out roughly how much some of the figures might cost based on weight, stuff like that. All of the graphics, all of the arrangement, the text, making sure the small print's all sort of done. So it is a bit of a baby of mine. So I'm glad that it's been
Wow. So,
received nicely.
Annie, how long have you been planning this?
This has been quite a while. It's been like a year and a half, 2 years. Because it's been
Wow.
a bit of a side project. Because I've been focusing on other bits. I've kind of just been slowly adding sculpts to it.
Now,
And
are there any which ones seem to be the most popular at the moment? I know it's early days.
I've no idea. You
Ah,
find out afterwards. So people chuck money at you, and then it's only later in the pledge manager where you know exactly what they want. You can tell from the sidebar what pledges people have gone for, but
yes.
because they're bundle pledges, um, you can only see that, and then the pick and mix option. So even if you want just the one miniature, you can do that. Um,
Do you have
that
any
doesn't tell
favourites?
you. I can't remember. I've
Well,
been
shall we just
staring at
blitz through them all now, and then maybe
Hmm.
it'll jog your
go
memory, and you'll think,
through.
"Oh yes, that one's my favourite."
We should
Hmm.
go through them
So,
all. Yeah.
Gwen and Evie, mercenaries, your typical
Yeah.
kind of sword fighters. We've already had a little look at those. Then we've got Naya and Riley, barbarian and thief. So,
Yeah.
what's the deal here?
They are sculpted by Mark Evans as well, who we've not worked with for a few years. And I bumped into him a couple of years ago, just before the war, the pandemic war, and convinced him that he should do some more for us. So I'm really, really happy with these because he was one of the first sculptors we ever worked with, and I just really like his style. The same as the other people I use, where it's just really crisp and easy to paint, and that's what I always really want to go for. So I've had figures before, like with the thief, where that blade would be a separate piece and things like that, and it's not happening. It's not happening here. Andy made me promise I'd never make a separate nose rem, but I couldn't promise it. So I don't think I'll ever make a separate nose, but you never know.
We couldn't guarantee it on this show.
No, it's set me up for a lifetime of being cancelled if I had to do a long nose.
Down here we've
Oh,
got Noala and Imogen, fighter and
Nula.
ranger. Nula.
Nula, yeah.
Nula.
An Irish name, Nula.
Yala.
Nula. Yep, they are. I'm so sleepy as well. But I don't know what I can say about them. It's not great me trying to promote my stuff. Oh, hey, it's a cool axe lady and a cool bow lady. I particularly like axe lady. I think is one of my favourites. Nula. I like her sort of semi-running pose. I think when they're all together as well, they make a really good, just sort of general warband.
So Annie, do you draw these out, or do you like just talk through your idea and the sculpture does that? How does it?
It's a mix. Some of them have been sort of they've gone from anything from just a sculptor going, "Here, I've done this," and me going, "Cool, I'll take it," to sort of a rough sort of thing to full on, yeah, me designing every part of it. So it depends on the figures. So they're two that I actually didn't have that much input on. They were one of the earlier ones where they just kind of I started I'm just caping up. I started acquiring various fantasy style sculpts. So
Right. So
yeah,
you
those
won't say, right,
started off.
I want female with chainmail armor and double-handed axe.
It depends what it is. Say I might just say a paragraph or something, but as the further it got into this project anyway, it's full on sketches with notes and references and stuff like that.
You know what I like about this archer? I like the way, rather than just firing the bow, it's kind of in the post-shot pose. It's like an arrow's just been loosed, and it's
Yeah.
like just watching it to see if it's going to hit the target kind of look. I
Yeah, you're just
appreciate
waiting
that.
for the doink bullseye.
Yes.
Looks like, yeah.
Now, support gang here, they don't have names, but we've got Apothecary, Healer, and Bard. Are they going to have names by the end?
I don't know. I guess we could have polls for their names, just because there's not enough room on the packaging for them. My favourite of these is the Apothecary, the one all in white.
That is a nice bottle.
She was one of the last figures to get sculpted, and the artwork. I should have try and find the artwork I did for her because it wasn't. I think I was very tired when I did it. So for her face, it was of just a smiley face, like an emoji face.
At least
But
that's not
again,
what was
like-
sculpted, thankfully.
I did have to make sure this is just where the face would be. But she's my favourite because, well, before I started having much of my own minis reigns, I used to just stock as much as I could off loads of different companies. So it kind of ended up teaching me where there were gaps for certain types. So there was like quite a lot of standard fighters, and then some other ones there might not be. And there was a real lack of just a full-on healer that wasn't also a sort of wild and out there wizard. It's just like basically like basically a fantasy nurse, which I didn't think when I was googling it as well. I was like, oh, see if I can get any references for it. No, I don't think that'll fit in very well.
Now, Annie, I've got a question for you,
Yes.
or maybe Andy could answer this. If we just scroll down just a smidgen there, why do clerics in fantasy only have bashing weapons? So clerics in fantasy games always seem to have a mace.
That is true, actually. You don't often see them with swords, do you? It's usually like a hammer.
Yeah,
But
is it because they don't like to draw blood, but it's all right to crush something?
They're all right with internal bleeding, just not external.
Yeah, maybe someone in the chat knows, but have you noticed that? Maybe now I've said it, you'll start noticing it.
I definitely have noticed that's quite a standard thing. But I guess there's like normal speculation, and then there's just like, well, rules kind of make it better depending on what you're playing. they'll have made it so that it's more advantageous to take
Peter
a
says real
blunt weapon.
world priests were forbidden from drawing blood, right?
Mm. Well, I'm sure you draw blood if you smash someone's skull in. But yeah, they fight undead. Maybe that's the best way to kill undead. You can't stab a skeleton, can you? There's no flesh there, so perhaps crushing it is the way to go.
That's
Yes, here we
true.
go. Colin's agreeing. Skeletons need bludgeoning weapons to beat them.
Yes.
I do like that rogue. I mean, I think she looks like a sort of a duelist. You
Got
Yeah.
an
know?
eye patch as well.
Yes.
Yeah, love that one. She could be sort of some kind of fleet captain as well, couldn't she? Just sort of very what's the word?
Piratey.
Aristocratic. But
Vers-
yeah, pirate. Yeah, like it.
generally versatile, a lot of these.
Now, we've got one
Um,
here that isn't as far along in the process, clearly. But Rosetta the
so
Knight.
what's been nice as a side project doing these is that there's not so many rules. So when I've done something like a World War II project, every single thing has to be referenced and accurate, and you've got to make sure everything is perfect. As in, they've got the correct gear on. This pose might not be a thing, and I like that, but it's really heavy. So it's quite nice. So that's why this has been quite a long project, 'cause it's just been on the side that you can just kind of go, what looks cool? It doesn't need doesn't need to have existed because it's fantasy. So I do understand why people do a lot more fantasy than in making miniatures than they
Well,
do.
when the Soviets arrived, you better believe that I was there counting every single button.
You were, yeah.
We've got the comments are on fire at the minute, and
Oh,
we've had
God,
some
you
really
know.
interesting research. Trolling Badger, hey man, Trolling Badger says, I think it all stems from Bishop Odo on the Bayeux Tapestry, who carries a mace. Well, that's something I didn't know. I might have a look up.
That's
Maybe you
going,
could do a miniature for Bishop Odo.
going further back
Maybe.
than my knowledge would have done, anyway.
So that's kind of cool. Battle of Hastings, 12th, 11th century. Could
I
do.
quite like the Zato. Someone's got to use a mace, right? Maces are cool. That's
That is
if you
true.
scroll back up to the overnight lady, that's a photograph of the sculpt. So yeah, that's the raw sculpt. And it's quite handy actually that they're not all painted, because that's one that hasn't been cast yet, so I can't paint it yet. But you can see what the base is like, because some people have been asking, like, they're on swatter bases or big puddle bases and things like that.
Peter Laval says, I think Annie aged a year when Remington suggested doing an Odo miniature.
I went, yeah.
I think Andy could be a good Count Odo, couldn't he? Bishop Odo. What do you think, Andy?
I would have to
Okay.
do some
More of
research
like
to find out if he was terrible first.
to the baby eating bishop. Well, you've got more
Nice.
of the like Prince Charles going on. Prince Charles, King Charles. Yeah.
Yes.
Not Prince Charles.
Definitely
No,
not
you
that.
don't want that going on.
Well, this huntress is called Zaya the Huntress. Looks like sort of a Conan the Barbarian type. Time and space kind of
With a
barbarian.
bird.
The
So
bird.
it's
If that doesn't get you
largely-
pledging, I don't know what will.
It's largely that sort of Western fantasy style.
Yeah.
Because we've got some other stuff I feel like it needs its own sort of spotlight, but we've got a couple that are a bit different in there. So we've got, if you scroll back up a little bit to my other night, Sun Young is based on old Korean armor. So that's again that sort of like fantasy / historical, because there's a lot of things that look a lot like that, but she's not based on a particular person or anything. And Zaya is a sort of Mongolian hawk huntressy type person. Obviously she's fighting as well, but she's got a cool little hawk.
I will say, I think these two might be winning so far purely because they've got sword danglage. Look at that.
Oh yeah, they do both have some sword danglage.
Top-notch danglage there. See if that can be beaten. Well,
Any mini with a bird on, I like. We've got a lot of those.
yeah, stick a bird
Oh,
on a
it is
miniature,
cool.
guaranteed sales, I think.
Good. I'm sure, Annie, I mentioned in the past to you doing some witches with broomsticks, and there you go. Farah, the witch there, has a broomstick, and
I have a
looking good.
broomstick. She's got a staff, and I have
Oh
6
God!
witches. I
All
have
right.
6
Well,
witches with broomsticks, Ram. I have 6.
how come
And I
everything
have
I
a
say goes
set.
wrong every time?
I have a set of
And
witches,
you
and I
haven't
have a
bought them
set
yet.
of witch accessories that have like broomsticks and cats and
I'm
crystal
sorry,
balls.
I don't have my glasses on. Let me have a look.
No, not on the Kickstarter. Just in general. You need to look on my website one day, Ram.
Yeah, you need to buy something from Bad Squiddo one day.
She's a witch. She's floating and she's holding a
No.
broomstick.
Well, she's oh, she is actually a witch. She's an arcane witch.
I think
I'm
she's
gonna get some
leaning,
better.
though.
No, I'm gonna get some pictures of her. So they're the pictures I've got from the sculptor, but they are headed straight to the caster. So that'll arrive tomorrow, and then he's gonna take some photos of her from different angles.
Oh, yeah.
But she's in quite a simple-ish sort of big poofy dress because I wanted to make something that looked a little bit princess-like, because why not? Her hair is based on Farrah Fawcett, so that's why I ended up calling her Farrah. So that was the reference for her. I don't know if you can see it on this if you zoom in, but she's got that lovely windswept. On part of the brief, I said it's a bit like she's stood on an air vent.
Yes.
So she is floating. Again, you can't fully see it, but the back of her skirt, it's a bit like that GW trick when I was trying to figure out how she'd be floating. Like, shall it be by a hair, by some ribbons, by a cloak, by a dress? What's going to attach her to the ground? But just the longer back of the skirt. It's got a little subtle. And I was really happy with my staff design as well. I just thought that looked pretty cool because I've got quite a few like druidy types, like woodland witches. I just wanted a really arcane, smart sort of looking one. And I kind of want that myself, just to paint in like a bit like Princess Peach or something.
I've got a
Yeah,
very
it's-
important question about this miniature. What's on the end of the stick?
A crystal.
It's not a broomstick.
The only thing you could clean up with that would be like evil spirits, I imagine.
I think I need another angle photo because I realised that I've filled
I
in the gaps with my
Can't see
brain.
what is wrong with having a broomstick. It's very useful.
Nothing. It's just that I've got 6 broomstick pointy hat.
See, when I was a kid, my mum used to chase us around the house with a broomstick. It's quite effective. The chat's going absolutely crazy. We've got Cedar Kurakan saying Andy actually looks more like Cardinal Richelieu from the Three Musketeers, the arch enemy of the Three. I can see the resemblance, Andy. All your mannerisms, yes. And we've had
quite magnificent.
And Jez Hunt's been deep diving even further into the legend of Bishop Odo. He wasn't just in the Bayeux tapestry carrying a mace; he commissioned it, and he was one of William the Conqueror's mates. Probably well dodgy
and brutal.
and brutal.
Sure, everyone was
absolutely.
in those days.
What have we got up on here now? Oh, some cheeky Amazons. So we did
they're
a
awesome.
couple years ago. We did an Amazon and Dwarf Kickstarter. So I got a few more Amazons. So they're
Nice.
just joining in here because I'm not going to have a whole of a Kickstarter worth of them. But again, fantasy figures, chuck them in. I really like. Oh,
Amazons do well.
yes, yeah. The Amazon and Dwarf Kickstarter has been. Well, that was a really, really good one. That's the one I'm competing with on this Kickstarter.
Wasn't that your
Have you ever
highest
used-
ever Kickstarter, that one?
No, I think it was in terms of like the amount of miniatures. The Freya's Wrath, the Shield Maiden, was the largest, but it was really expensive to make as well. But Amazon and Dwarf went a lot higher than I expected for not many minis. It was kind of a similar size. So there's a website called KickTrack, and you can follow all the stats of a Kickstarter. So I've already started going, what do I need to beat Amazon's? That's quite handy. I like my stats and stuff as well. So it's going. So it might beat them, but there was quite a lot of ongoing with that. So we'll see. And there were a lot more stretch goals, and there's probably going to be for this. But...
Now, where I've just rested it here, I think now that this is on the screen, the pledges are going to go through the roof because merchant kitties. How could you say no to that?
Rem can.
Rem,
I'd say
you
no
want
to
some
everything.
merchant kitties?
Yeah, I like the one sort of in meditation there.
Well,
It's
it
cool.
kind of is, but it's got coins on her hands, little coins.
Ah,
Yeah.
Why is she a
It'll
beggar?
make a bit more sense. No, they sell things. I've got a whole merchant's kit down in the add-ons, so that you'll see like when
Of
that's all
course.
together, it looks so nice. The little caravan and stuff. But they're just I like characters that aren't necessarily combat characters because they just kind of look cool to have around, make
Nice.
dioramas with.
I'm sure there's a class in some fantasy games where you can be sort of a cat person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can still use them for other stuff, but they haven't got obvious weapons, but you could always convert them if you wanted to. And they're all named after previous guinea pigs. So Mina and Nadia were two of my guinea pigs, and Dave is a guinea pig that I can see here causing trouble.
Bit of a troublemaker, that Dave.
What, Dave? A man in my woman Kickstarter?
Dun, dun, dun.
My aunt is called Mina. How
Oh,
about that? And
okay.
the ex-bass player in my band had a girlfriend called Nadia.
It's like it's a sign.
Do you know
And
a load of Daves as well?
He used to wear her underwear all the time. Sorry?
Fact of the day.
That's
Yeah.
Remington's Fact of the Day. Same time next week for another one of those.
Remington's fact of the day.
There you go. Dave, I had a neighbour called Downstairs Dave. I called him, so there you are.
We'll move on before we find out how he got his nickname. Let's go on now. I've definitely got this one in my pledge. Fliss, the Goblin Heroine.
You have pledged a lot in this Kickstarter, Andy.
Yes.
He can't afford it. I don't know why he's pledging all this money. He doesn't have any.
Yes, this is going to be perfect. Perfect for my Kings of War Goblin army, I think. Goblin
I
Heroine.
can't legally mention the number of Andy's pledge, or whether it's high or low.
Otherwise, you'll be straight into court.
I'd veer more towards the low if I were you.
Bliss, I absolutely love. I need to get another angle photo of her as well. She's got the like Valkyrie helmet going on. That just looks like horns from the side, but from the front. But it's Valkyrie helmet, so it's winged.
Love those. Love that model. That's awesome.
And yeah, she's cool. I like that. Again, it's like random goblin in there. And then what? So I said most of them are human, but not all of them. The next bunch are dwarves.
Dun, dun,
and again,
dun.
with those last Damsels, we've got a whole range of fantasy dwarves. And these fit in perfectly. So again, it's like some of the sub ranges are getting little top ups. So yeah, these have got a second dude in this Kickstarter. What's that madness? So yeah, Eric and Frida are two Viking dwarves. Basically, they're gonna have so many different uses. I'm really excited to see them painted up as well.
Now, when I look carefully, I don't have my glasses on, but Frida looks like he's got a beard.
No, that's Eric. Oh, I've put the names the wrong way around. Yeah, Eric's a man.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, I am useful after all.
There's the occasional token man in there. Why not?
Now, are any of these skeletons token men as well?
It's hard to know because I haven't actually decided on the Landsknecht, and then I've decided that it can be who knows? You can make your mind up, or it could be a gender neutral skeleton. And lady does or lady. I did think, could be a female bodyguard. It's entirely up to you. This is the only one that's not finished being sculpted yet, so there's an artist's rendering, and there's a bit of what we've got so far.
Let's see.
But this is the first time we've worked with James Sheriff, so he's looking really nice.
I can just imagine James is furiously sculpting away to get this finished.
He is, no pressure at all.
Under no pressure whatsoever, probably being harassed by text messages and phone calls every hour or so, asking for updates.
I did tell him I was more important than any other work and family, and that Bad Squiddo was all that there should be in his life right now. But yeah, it was a fairly late edition, so it's fine. I'm sure we'll get some progress.
Shall we?
Now we've got these exciting stretch goals.
Stretch goals, also known as the unsculpted or at least unphotographed. We don't know. Are any of these actually?
I actually have files of them fully photographed, ready to go as soon as they're unlocked.
Dun dun dun. Well, there you go.
And now we've got more goodies to unlock at the bottom. Could we perhaps
Mm.
see Andy in a loincloth as a miniature? I think that could do well.
Could be done. Could be done. If it gets over 20
Yeah.
grand, you never know.
What do you think, guys? Or Andy as Cardinal Richelieu? Didn't seem to go down too
Why
well, that one.
not?
What sort of time are we looking at, Annie? So we're going to back this Kickstarter.
Yeah, we
And
launched this eve.
when could we expect to receive some miniatures, do you think?
Technically, the date on the Kickstarter is December. It's not far.
That's not far. I had to wait 2.5 years to get a Kickstarter come to me in the end. So
Yep.
that's amazing.
Not here at Bad Squiddo. It's usually a few months.
And what's
And
this?
then
This is cool. So you're
this
getting
is-
the Shield Maiden squad.
so these are bundles of existing miniatures. So I'm trying to, as well as the new stuff, I'm trying to bring some light to some of the the existing miniatures that people might not know we've got. And you can get a little deal by getting mini bundles.
Have you got the Remington
Um,
bundle, which is a load of witches and broomsticks that he's never seen before?
Jez in the chat mentioned Matahari. I've got 2 of the stretch goals are actually historical figures because I can't not historicals are gonna historical. So they're in there, but they're in there because they also would work really well in a fantasy setting. Jean de Clisson, we may have a teaser of her if you're sticking around.
Is
Um,
that a real person from history? Jean de
Yeah, so we've
Clisson?
got the foot version of her out, but this is for the mounted version by Kev White, and it is fantastic. But the reason I had her made by him was so that it's a historical figure that if you didn't know, it's not you buy it because it's a historical. Some people would buy it because it's a historical figure, but it just looks really cool as a fantasy miniature, but is historically accurate.
Let's look
That's
at
what
this.
I want.
And we've got more compliments in the chat here. We've got Timothy saying, "Get Cardinal Andy sculpted with both fully dressed and loincloth options."
Yeah, Tim, if you pay for that, that'd be
And
fine.
someone called Remington Steele says, "Yes, Andy Richelieu holding a hot poker." Sounds interesting. Battle Knights. Some folk are still waiting for minis from Fable
Mhm.
Realms, and that's been 4 years now.
I
So
can
we're only
confirm that
only
Squiddo
talking.
Kickstarters are.
I can confirm that they do not take 4 years because I've already finished painting most of my Winter Soviets, as people have seen. And it doesn't seem like that long ago that Kickstarter was wrapping up.
No,
Annie, how do you manage to, carry through all these ideas into Kickstarter into reality so fast
by being a
compared to the?
monster. That's why I'm so tired. I just try and get as much prepared and just be really. I don't know if it's somehow better that it's just me because there's not like a chain where when you're like waiting on someone to do something and you're assuming they're doing it and then it turns out they're not or whatever. It's just me, but I think it's just because I'm ace.
Yeah.
So that's probably it.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's the 4 P's. It's preparation, passion, persistence, and
Patience.
no patience in this business. Poultry,
Okay.
that's the one. Because whenever you order anything from Bad Squiddo Games, the website, then you should be using the code in the description of all my videos. Get a free chicken. So there it is. The 4th P is poultry. Have you got any
Poultry.
chicken bundles on here that we can find?
There are, yes.
Excellent.
In the farm bundle.
Eh,
I was gonna say.
And Annie, so while he's getting the chicken bundles, can we look forward to seeing Bad Squiggo at any conventions?
Yes, I will be at Salute. Not next month. Oh, like a couple of months. I think it's the 13th of November. Salute, the big London one, which you should totally go to. At
That'd
least you
be
get some REM content there. That's a very good one.
Oh, do you
Um,
think I could just interview people all day?
That's what Andy used to do.
Yeah.
True.
There's people like me that will just talk if you put a mic there. I will be at Partisan next weekend in Newark. I can't remember which day it is. I think it's Sunday. I won't be trading because I have quit most shows. Don't know if it'll be forever. Probably not forever. I
Yeah.
just can't. I'm just constantly at the moment. It's like the amount of stuff I'm doing. So this is why I'm absolutely dead. It's not just this Kickstarter. It's just there's so much that I'm trying to juggle. And I've got to get on top of a whole bunch of stuff. Having no trade shows over pandemics made me realize how much they were really knackering me as well. So
Yeah.
just for a bit, I'm going to cut them out, but I'm going to attend some of the local ones. So I've got a rep now. Woo! So I've got plenty of people selling Bad Squiddo stuff anyway, but I've got a specific rep for trade shows now, which is Great Escape Games. So they'll be carrying not most of the line because it's so much stuff, but like the best sellers and the stuff that I generally would sell more of at shows. And then they'll be able to sort of order in specific bits if you let them know before a show and stuff, because they do quite a few shows.
I heard you mention Newark, and I know that's home to another famous miniature company.
Not Foundry.
Foundry.
No?
Is it Foundry?
Oh, they Newark?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
One of
kind
the
of like between Nottingham and
old
Newark,
ones.
there's quite a lot to be fair. It's Foundry are actually having Bring Out Your Lead this weekend,
Oh.
and I'm house sitting, and I realised that it's this Saturday. I can still go, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I wanted to go to that one year, but Andy didn't want to go, so I didn't
It's
go either.
wicked. I went one year and I really liked it, and they moved the date a bit later on
I was
this
going to
year.
bring all my halflings.
Yeah,
Metal
maybe next
halflings.
year we shall all go. I really liked it.
I found the chicken bundle here. So anyone who's into their chickens, or anyone who got their first taste of chickens through using the code and just got one chicken, you could get all these chickens and more with Down the Farm bundle deal, which is a bit of a bargain. Look at that. You can get pumpkins in it. Some of them spooky, some of them just a bit mouldy looking. As pumpkins should be.
They're just different coloured pumpkins.
But we've been
Yes,
scrolling
Colin's
down.
going in.
Been scrolling down all these bundle deals here, and people have been eyeing them up, I'm sure.
Oh.
But these are some pretty darn good deals, aren't they?
That is, I love the travelling market. Look at that. And if you get the cat traders with that as well.
There's a Persian carpet in the merchant's caravan there.
So Carla in the chat painted most of all the terrain up, including those carpets where she free-handed all of the Persian stuff on it, which is insane.
Oh wow.
But it's been really nice putting these together. It's taken me ages, because they're normally all just separate products, but putting them in the bundles, you can see them directly next to each other is wicked, because you can just sort of picture it then.
So much stuff, Annie, and this isn't even a lot of it, right? I've not even looked at all the female war miniatures, right?
War? Did you say war miniatures?
Yeah, is that the wrong thing to say?
No. Well, you mean like the World War II stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this is just some of the fantasy bit, and the terrain. If you scrolled back down a bit, Andy, most of the terrain has been it's just part of our collection as add-ons. But there's some new things.
Look at that, Pig Idols.
Look in the Forgotten Jungle, Pig Idols.
Ancient
And
guinea pig statues.
With they've got little like candles and what's the word? Dedications, offerings by them as well. And the guinea pigs are actually sacred in Peru, so there probably are guinea pig statues there.
Bitey plants.
The bitey plants I was gluing together earlier and photographing.
They look cool.
They are so cool. Somewhere during the campaign, I'll put some bigger pictures up of them. And I'll probably do these little videos with the terrain that just showing them off, so I'll do that. But gluing them together.
They got got goofy mouths. I love
them.
Yeah. They remind me of Venus flytraps. Me and my brother used to collect Venus flytraps when we were kids, and we used to feed it little flies.
Yeah.
Put our little fingers in it, and they'd like try and bite them.
Oh yeah, it's such a lovely set. So yeah, I'll get some more photos of those. Although I should have taken a photo earlier, because I thought, how pathetic. I run this company and I couldn't find any glue. Andy doesn't let me have his glue.
Really?
That's a lie.
He'd gone. I didn't want to rifle around. And my glue's always... No, why doesn't Andy lend me his glue? Because mine always glue together, because I'm sure I just
Yeah,
don't
mine
clean the
does.
nozzle or something.
Mine does
But
that
they
all the
always
time.
end up solid. So I've got a hack where I slice into the side of the glue with a scalpel. But then I have to like squeeze the side of it to get a drop out. And then it sort of self-heals back up, so you haven't wasted all the glue. But I was in the office doing that onto a bit of plastic. And I didn't have anything, so I used a bit of a plant stick to sort of like do some weird alchemy of then dripping the glue in place. Thinking I should probably have like a spatula and super glue in the office. Probably quite a basic thing. But yeah. What else have we got?
Bundle deals, as far as the eye can see. I've just
So many bundle
scrolling down
deals.
them all. I can
And that was-
testify to the quality of things like the bugs that I've used heavily on one of my Kings of War armies. Tentacles as well, I've made good use of those.
With the alien mounds and you as well.
I've been eyeing those up actually, the alien mounds. Very
Might
nice.
let you have some to paint.
Frogs as well. Nice.
Because there's so much, I figured that you can get overwhelmed by all the terrain, which is why I sort of put them together. So they're in little subsets, so you can either just buy them all and save a chunk, or go, oh, I quite like, say, just the books and the tables, they work together. So trying to make it as easy as possible for people to spend money.
You ever
That's
thought
the
of doing a bad Squiggo subscription thing where you know?
I thought about it a few years ago, but it's too it's too much for me.
Yeah.
But we support other subscription boxes. So far, it's just one, but we supply Model Box fairly often, and they're a subscription box for obviously lots of random stuff, and they seem to be doing it really well. And we are in. They did mention some names, so it's not a secret anymore. But we're in their advent calendar that they're putting out as a little tester this year. So a miniatures advent calendar.
Okay.
That's quite exciting. I like that. So yeah, a little daily, like, oh, a fresh miniature. But yeah, it's sort of thing I'd much rather leave someone else to do that than just
Maybe
add
Andy
it to
can
my...
do that. Maybe Andy could do that if you invented some sort of theme, like the guinea pigs versus the Amazonians, right? And
Sounds like a fair fight.
Yeah, it was like a scenario. So look, I don't know, you pay a certain amount a month, and you get the Amazon slowly, and the guinea pigs and the scenery to go with it, and a whole village or a setting where the battle takes place. You got the man-eating plants that come 1 week.
Are you just pitching basically GW's subscription magazine system about Squiddo?
Remington's Millions.
WH Smith can sell it.
Hold on, I've got to play this. Got to play the. Here we go. Hold on.
Amazons versus guinea pigs.
Remington's Millions.
Yeah, Remington's Millions. Take an idea that already exists, give it a different name, pitch it. Those are the rules if you want to earn Remington's Millions.
Well, the seed's been planted. I'm sure we'll see that happen, and then suddenly it will be conveniently forgot that I mentioned it a year earlier.
Now I paused here.
Plays out.
Paused here because I've spotted rats in the harbour bundle. Are they new rats? Because I see they're not painted.
They are. They're not the latest, but they are new within like the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we've got the rats, which is one like holding a cheeky bit of food. And the one of the mini bundles is called Rats and Trash, because the pack next to it works really well. Again, in the update, I'll put some photos. But the rats, it's really generic trash. I might need to rename it because street trash sounds really sort of like modern, but it's like just pots and stuff that can kind of fit anywhere. It's just that sort of debris you have in back alleys and
discarded
around.
items.
Yeah. Like things that if you're in a video game, you'd sort of go and press A next to or whatever. Like, you'd go see if there's anything interesting in there. And whilst I was doing this, I did notice that there's a lack of sort of inner dungeon debris in our collection. So I was on to Ristol today about that.
Now,
Annie, last time I saw you, you were getting up to speed with a TikTok.
Yeah.
I can see it right here on your vast list of social media, which may even eclipse our own social media output.
I am everywhere.
You're a TikTok fiend, it's safe to say.
I'm still failing to make it big on TikTok, but the real reward is that I've been entertaining myself. Because I think that my TikToks are hilarious and replay them a lot and go, I'm funny. Nobody on TikTok agrees. But I've been like watching some TikTok commentaries and stuff, and people saying how hard it is. It's like it's total luck. There's obviously the good things to do to get spotted, but so much of it is luck. And because I'm a bit of a niche, I mean, like if I was just doing a TikTok dance, I'd have more luck. But that's life. But I one day will blow up one of my videos. I thought I had it the other day. I thought I would have lured Gary V into re-sharing it or whatever you do, but didn't work.
We've had a very important question from the audience. From Ground Ginger. Good rats, not evil rats, because often you see rat miniatures as kind of these mutated, snarling monsters. These ones look a bit more friendly. Is that fair to
Well,
say?
I will very briefly just pop onto my website, squiddogames.com.
Looks like they're just foraging and nibbling on things rather than threatening to eat people.
I've actually covered whether they are good or evil in the text, so I'm bringing it up so that to prove that I'm not making it up. One moment. Oh, what a handy website! This works very well on mobile.
You can order Bad Squiddo miniatures from the comfort and convenience of your mobile handheld telephone.
You sure can.
Wow.
Wow, the interface is so smooth. So the text I have for the rat says, "Rats. Misunderstood, rats are wonderful and smart creatures. But this is wargaming, so if you want them to be rabid streets or dungeon rats, go for it. You can also use them as fun pets for your characters or just little friends out exploring the world." So the answer is both.
So if you want them to be evil, just trickle a bit of blood down their mouths, maybe. Make their eyes glowing in red. If you want them to be nice, don't do that.
They are very kind creatures, so yeah. Nice pets. They make good pets. Nice loyal pets.
So, the big question now. Remington, how high are you going to pledge on Definitely Not Damsels Kickstarter? Are you going to go for the pledge without a reward? Are you going to go for the pick and mix? Are you going to go for the Dungeon Essentials? The Dragon Slayer? We're getting into your kind of price range here. This is the kind of money that you just fritter away on stocks on a weekly basis. Then we've got the World Conqueror, which is higher still. Is there anything beyond that?
No.
Surely not. No, there we go. Ends there. So, what do you think? I assume you're going to leap in not only for some of the miniatures, but also one of these bundles.
I don't want any more miniatures, but I want to support Annie.
You should get some scenics.
You can feel your wallet trying to burst out of your pocket right now.
I've got too much stuff to paint. I mean, I'm.
You're supposed to advertise this, Bram.
Oh, okay.
I'll buy all the stuff. You can never have too many miniatures.
Yeah, you can never have too many. Look, the merchant's caravan is screaming at me.
It is stunning.
It's a screaming buy, that one.
Just think the wondrous things you could do with all this.
But some of them, maybe like some of the packs that have less items, so say like the merchant caravan's just one item, that might be less daunting.
Yes, but look, pack mules.
Rem didn't like the mules when they were new.
You've got any halflings? They're creepy. They look like the Mexican, those Mexican piñata things that they.
That's what we're going for.
They're spun that creepy. But have you got any female halflings?
No. Got a whole load of dwarves though.
I've got a whole. Yeah, okay. What, dwarven female dwarves?
Yeah, I've got a whole range of dwarves.
With these things you could have been looking at for the past few years on badsquiddogames.com.
And there's of course the brand new ones in here. Because I ran out of time, I was supposed to put more figure bundles on there, but I was literally still on the Kickstarter at 6 o'clock when it was supposed to launch, hurriedly changing some graphics and stuff, as Photoshop and Firefox were crashing in unison, and I just wanted to die. Which is why everyone should back, because of the pain. At one point, I thought I'd accidentally deleted the Kickstarter. You're like, ah! So I ran out of time and put more. Oh yeah, just there. There's more bundle deals will be announced during the Kickstarter. So I've just bought myself a bit more time. So I'm going to put at least the Dwarves as a bundle, Amazons as a bundle. So the ones that you haven't seen yet on this. Got the spooky bundle. So we've got the sort of stuff from My Last Sunrise.
Andy, there's just so much quality stuff. I'm thinking, do you think there'll be a day when there'll be a bad Squiddo sort of convention? Like, other miniature companies, you go there and you're only really supposed to use their miniatures. Do you think? I think there's enough bad Squiddo stuff to do an actual bad Squiddo convention, right?
Squid
It's something I've
Fest.
thought about.
No, how come whenever I have an idea, somebody's already thought about it? Unbelievable.
No, I was actually talking about it a few years ago with some other companies that were all like, okay, we haven't got the
Okay.
pull of something like Games Day,
Yeah.
but it's companies that have a sort of shared customer base, then if there was say like so it wasn't big like a trade show, but maybe like free companies that were mates
Yeah.
putting on a day, and then it's not so sad if like 4 people turn up.
So it's a bit like Andy Palooza.
A bit like that.
Year after year, we try and put this event on, but it's only me that generally turns up to support Andy. And then RemCon is kind of like the same thing, but with Andy supporting me.
Well, we haven't
if you do it long enough, they come, apparently.
We haven't officially put tickets on sale ever for Andy Palooza or RemCon.
It's true.
To be fair.
This is true, but do you think it's like in Field of Dreams, where he says if you build it, they'll come?
Well, we can have a bad Squiddo presence at Andy Palooza. At RemCon, I don't know if anyone really wants to be associated with that convention.
The tarnish on their reputation.
It's probably not worth it. There is such thing as bad publicity, despite what they say.
Depends how much Rem pays, like if he pays for me to make a celebrity appearance, then.
Well, once we advertised for RemCon, because we were going to do it, and Andy did a subterfuge campaign against me, and was doing Photoshop pictures of me as Trump. With like nuclear weapons, all around.
I would never devilishly use Photoshop to smear people's good name.
But it could be good because you're sort of building a bad Squiddo, home there, aren't you? Because
I'd love to. Have a day of Annie. That'd be wicked. Because it is basically everyone coming to go, oh, your stuff's wicked. I'd be like,
can we have a
guarantee?
Get
us self-esteem for at least a week.
Can we have a guarantee of live music provided by Remington? Just in the middle of the convention, strumming away at the guitar.
Yes, yeah.
And then you might even get Andy doing a song. So if that's
when you need to clear out all the customers at the end of the day.
So
I think you flip that around, it's free to get in, but you have to pay to leave.
If you play music at AnnieCon, then I will waive my fee to put in an appearance at RemCon. And that's how these things work. The barter system's back.
So that's cool. You'll come to RemCon. That means I've got twice as many people coming to it than Andy Palooza already.
No, I'm going to Andy Palooza as well.
Oh, no.
I think you've just made a deal that Merchant Kitties would be proud of.
I think it's been too long since you've sung, Andy. I don't think Annie's heard you sing properly yet.
I have.
Have you heard?
There's been plenty of singing from me.
It's always singing.
I'm always singing.
He does. He sings pretty much once a day that I hear.
Really? Where?
Yeah.
What is
around
he doing?
the house. Hey.
Andy only owns one. Andy only owns one CD. It's only ever bought one album.
It's because his mind's a jukebox. He doesn't need the external tunes.
Steven Seagal album.
Which you, as I put it on in your car that one time, Mr. Remington, you said it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be.
That's right.
So that was your compliment.
No, Andy gets picked up by a rock star in his car, right, and then and insists I play the only CD he owns, that being Steven Seagal. Do you know what I mean? There you go. That'd
be good in like a sitcom. Actually, that'd be a good scene. I like that.
Well, The Kickstarter is currently at £6,297.
Ooh.
I will say
Ooh.
now that
Yeah.
anyone who pledges during the show and lets us know somehow that they've pledged during the show, preferably on the Andy and Rem Show Discord server or the Andy and Rem Show Facebook group, if you post in there that you've pledged during the show, we can check to make sure you've actually done it. Then maybe one of the people who pledges during the show will get an extra special treat. Like maybe I'll paint a chicken for you. If you're a lucky person who wins the Andy and Rem Show Painted Chicken Bonanza special draw.
It's good.
Yeah, we could have
How
a
about that?
competition at the Bad Squiddo Day, where of like you paint how many chickens can you paint in, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. It's
Then-
like called the chicken run.
Don't count your chickens before they're painted.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, everyone should back my Kickstarter if they haven't, even if you want to go in for a cheeky quid.
So while everyone's going for a cheeky quid, shall we have a look at some other stuff? Because we've got pictures to look at of things that we've painted and the community have painted. First of all, I'm going to show you why we're ignoring GW this week.
Oh, before you
Because-
get to that, I did send you a sneak peek image. It was on Messenger.
A sneak peek image. Well, I'll get to
It
that in a
was
second
of
then.
nobody's seen.
I'll grab that in a moment. But look at this. GW, they're ignoring our usual topic of conversation, which is fantasy gaming, and they've just got giant action figure Space Marines by the looks of it.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
So
so
no
bad.
dragons
No
this
wonder,
week.
No wonder the share price has gone down this week.
That'll be why. We'll get to that in a minute as well. So
Who wants
that would've-
Aeronautis
anyone who was-
Imperialis?
anyone who's saving money for GW's new dragons, don't bother. You might as well go all in on Bad Squiddo Kickstarter.
Mhm.
So there you go.
We'll get them sooner.
And while I'm lining up that other image in a moment, I'll let... I'm gonna have to play this again
Yeah,
now.
this.
Hold on, here we go.
Remington's Millions.
There we go. Remington's Millions. Talk us through this.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Oh my god.
You
well,
bought
you
in. You bought in
Underline.
big. And
I bought
has
in.
the
What a mug.
floor fallen out of Remington Industries, the
It's all
investments division?
This literally all happened in like 3 days, 2 or 3 days. I was riding high. Warhammer Plus came out. I looked at the sales that GW were doing. I thought this is just going to go up. And yeah, so I went in big, and I was wrong because, well, I think because of the fuel crisis and possibly news about China, has all set off a sort of a chain reaction. And I don't know how much of an impact it's had, but there's a lot of YouTubers really slagging off GW at the minute. So I don't know if that has had some sort of effect, maybe. And also they've lowered their dividend payout from 40 pence 25 pence per share. So these are all reasons why it could have gone down. And yeah. So yeah, I'm 10% down almost.
Don't leave. My speculation is that it'll go back up again. There's just a lot happening at the moment. I
Yeah.
don't think stuff like YouTubers have really any impact because the shareholders that are standard people are such a small percentage of just these like random men in suits that know nothing about war games but just do the old stock market thing. They're the real influencers of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
But, I saw some videos and there's like, this Arch Warhammer, it's just like he hates GW. It's like, well, why talk about it then? Why don't you talk about something you actually
He's the
like?
worst.
he is actually a
He's
terrible
the
human
worst.
being,
His
and we'll not
voice
mention
really
that name
winds-
again round here.
His voice really winds me up now as well.
Stop watching him.
Stop.
watching him.
Stop giving him.
I
Ad
don't really
revenue.
watch him. I just it just came up, on my things. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think with any sort of shares or companies, you have to hold them for a long time. And the last time
Yeah.
I held GW shares, I held them for a whole year. And for the first 4 months, I was down on it. But by the end of it, I was almost 100% up. So
You know what would be
I've
really
come-
good viewing for
yeah.
this channel and for the Remington's Millions segment in particular? If you put all your life savings, plunge all of it into GW, and then we don't even need the chart, we can just track how well they're doing based on your surroundings in each video. So if you're in like a luxury mansion, we know it's up this week. If you're in a hovel
Gold.
and you've just got like a cardboard flap instead of a window, then we know that it's just gone way, way down that week.
Although I'm the one with the like blanket cape, so that should be how well's Annie's Kickstarter doing. I actually took this off as it went over $6,000 to lessen the dishevelled look. So I went, oh, I don't
And
need a
by the end of
rag
the show, you
anymore.
could replace it with a luxury, genuine
Oh, yeah,
silk
yes.
scarf, paid for with Kickstarter money.
Well, I just thought if I doubled my share amount over time, then the dividend payment would basically cover my Warhammer Plus subscription. So that's one way of looking at it.
So if you
Real
want
way
to
of
pay
winning.
for a Warhammer Plus subscription, just play the stock market. That's the only way you can do it. So because I
Well,
still
it's
haven't
one
found
way,
this secret
especially-
image,
Well, I sent it to you on Messenger.
I can't see it. So let's allow Remington to
Oh.
talk through his paint job while you're sending that to me again, preferably on Discord.
Well, it's
Yeah,
fine.
so
We can-
I'm getting. What do you think of them, Manny? I'm getting
Oh,
through my
Remington's
cruel
breaking up a bit.
boys. But what do you think? They're looking all right?
did you say that again, Ram? You went all bloop, bloop, bloop.
Oh,
Hello?
great.
Oh,
Oh, it's fantastic. As soon as I'm talking about my miniatures, it crashes.
You're back now, but
No,
you
you're
were
back,
you
you're
were
back.
briefly pixely, but you're back in with us now.
Sorry. Yeah, what do you think? Are they looking all right? I've got 5
look.
left to paint. I was
hey,
pretty sick and tired of painting them, to be honest. So
have a look. Oh,
yeah,
Those,
I love painting the shields though. Shields are the best part.
those
Completely
shields
best.
are a bit like my bitey plant faces.
Yeah. I think unfortunately my eyesight is starting to fail me quite badly now. So I'm finding it harder and harder to paint detail on faces.
You got those magnifier thingies.
Yeah, but they're just uncomfortable to
I
wear.
don't like them. I find they
Yeah.
mess up my depth perception.
Yeah,
Though
absolutely.
I have got a
yeah,
big
yeah.
magnifying glass now for my plants, so I can see if they've got any pests on them.
Well,
I do
Remington
got
is
this
clearly
sword going.
clearly is distressed and a bit sensitive about his eyesight and worried about where that could be heading for the future. So let's heavily scrutinise with a really zoomed in picture and take a look at his paintwork under a microscope here.
Keep zooming, keep zooming.
No, don't.
It's actually really good, Ram. Actually, really good.
They do actually
Oh,
stand
wow,
up to
really?
scrutiny.
Yeah, I look
can-
at zoomed in minis a lot because when I'm editing and making all those graphics and stuff,
Yeah.
even minis that just like super top quality. Once you zoom in, a lot of the time it's still any slight bit where you might have
Yeah.
gone on the ear, onto the hair. It's just exaggerated massively.
The
So they
miniatures,
actually passed pretty well.
they're not designed to be viewed with
No.
way better than a human eye. Wargamers
That's it,
do
we
not
put 'em
bring a
on
microscope to the
screens.
table with them.
So could I paint for Bad Squiddo Games then? Could I be an official painter then? Do you think I've got what it takes?
Maybe.
I thought you said you had too
maybe.
many miniatures to paint already and you've got no time to do more.
Just,
But
you
if
know,
there's money involved, Rem's like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
is there money involved?
There's money
Oh, yeah,
involved?
no.
It's a job. I'm not there going, oh, go on, you want some exposure? You can
Oh,
do
there
it
you
for
go.
exposure if you want. I'll tell people about your band.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
Right.
Remington's been painting some cruel boys. However, I've been painting some things as well. So, look at this. We've got the
Are we gonna zoom-
Lord Imperatant
Let's
of
zoom
the
in on these, shall
Stormcast
we?
Eternals. Okay, let's have a zoom in. So there's the noble Griffhound.
Oh my god, awful. Look at that.
That's a bit harsh. Look at those,
It's
all those hand-painted feathers on there. Each feather
Mm,
done individually.
I don't think Annie's going to be chomping at the bit to hire you to paint Bad Squiddo
I don't know.
Games
Look
for
at
the
the zoom in on this beautiful highlighting there.
Yes.
Yeah, you can actually see all the ridiculous
Stop.
highlights when I zoom in. Actually, the hair doesn't look too bad, does it, here?
What have you used for his eye there? Have you used like a number 10 size brush or something?
No, it's his eyebrow.
Those are the eyebrows. There's highlighting of the eyebrows.
It's like a blob.
The eyebrow.
That's because we're zoomed in like 10 times normal
This
size.
is, Andy, this is so satisfying to me. You can't. No, the
Look
amount
at
of
this, and
times you've just
we've got a rear view as well, so you can see that I've done individual feathers on the back, which no one will ever see.
What?
Look
You'll
at that.
know they're there. Oh, that's a cool cave. It's a bit like this, actually.
so what's
Have
this?
you seen
What?
that
Yeah, it
guy's
is
nicked
like that.
my scarf?
So what's is this Imperator? What does he do then? Does I suppose he can't? He's indestructible.
Well,
That's probably because of that thing.
I can make him less destructible if I surround him with some of those bodyguards. And also, when he comes down, he can allow one of my units to set up closer to you than they normally would.
Seems fair. Anything else?
I think that's all of his major tricks, other than just hitting you with a hammer.
Auto mortal wounds, just for breathing.
Probably, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Now,
Okay.
I've also been painting more Bad Squiddo Winter Soviets, including the new sniper team in snowsuits.
Oh, I
wow,
haven't seen
they're
these ones yet.
awesome.
So anti-tank gun, anti-tank team there. So there's like a grenade, a Molotov, and a captured Panzerfaust, is it?
It is a Panzerfaust, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So, go check them out.
I love those Russian winter suits. It always made them look kind of, I don't know, just almost like just dead cool. I think.
Yeah, I think
the
you're
white
some of
suits.
the first people to paint these, Andy.
Look at those
Oh,
beautiful
I can see
flames.
that chicken. I can see the chicken.
Oh yeah, I worked a chicken in there into the army. You'll get a closer look at the chicken there. Look at that, sitting there.
You
Now,
know, there's a massive
Oh.
shortage of turkeys this year.
There's a shortage of everything, though. It's
Yeah,
appalling.
1 million too few turkeys apparently.
What?
Yeah, not enough people to pluck them.
I'll have to keep my guinea pigs safe then. People are looking for
Yeah.
little round food creatures.
That's right. That's a good idea. Look, she's holding up a helmet on a stick. So if there's any snipers, you can, check.
Yeah, that's what they did. So that's the sniper team. She's the spotter. But they did that. They put all sorts of like things on sticks. Because then, yeah, if you put the helmet up, someone shoots it, you get to see what angle they've shot from. And I thought, that's a neat idea for a figure, actually. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, cool.
Very cool.
She's holding it a bit close to her head, to be like holding it in front of her face.
Put a
And
chicken on a stick, couldn't she? I suppose.
I've got more of those Bad Squiddo Soviets as well. I've got a flamethrower team right here, which I haven't even finished basing yet. To putty up the base a bit, get a bit of sand on there before I can paint it. And I've also been adding the Bad Squiddo tank crew to some tanks as well.
Hey.
So there's a very large tank with a Bad Squiddo tank commander poking out there. And a not quite as big tank with another one of the models sticking out the top there. Very exciting. But I'm actually totally surrounded by assembled and partly assembled things at the moment. So, buildings assembled in record time. These are actually available from Bad Squiddo Games.
So I'm currently out of stock because they were my last one.
Yeah, currently out of stock because I snaffled them. So not
what
currently
are they made
available.
From those?
They're plastic. They're made by
plastic?
Renedra, so they're not mine, but I stock them. So they do loads of fairly cheap plastic. Well, cheap's not a good word. Low cost plastic buildings, but they're really nice. Yeah, they're not that much money.
They are. They're very light, and they're going to make a nice addition to my upcoming winter-themed, Soviet-themed World War II farmscape. Which I think
I was thinking we could use them in Walking Dead as well.
Yeah, why not?
Especially the barn.
You want to see what else I'm surrounded in? Caradron Overlords. And more Caradron Overlords. And even more of them. It's like, how many miniatures have I got here? Including, I've got a ship and I've got about 10 infantry down there. Needs to be worked on in addition to the buildings, the rest of the Soviets. And this ridiculous thing. And Griffhound statues. Yet I'm still happily there backing the Bad Squiddo Kickstarter, despite being surrounded by a wall of unpainted miniatures that I'm just ploughing through like a beast, knowing that I can get to that goblin heroine faster when it arrives. Yet Remington,
Right.
who is well known for selling off half his miniatures anyway, so is barely surrounded by anything, still can't back it.
A shame.
Well, how do you know I haven't backed it? I think it's just, I believe it's gone up by something like 10% during this show.
Well, we'll have a look at that in a moment, but
Rembacks with influence.
we've got some orcs here that were posted on the Andy and Rem Show Discord, and these were posted by Darb, and clearly they're not very fantasy-ish, but these stand up quite well to scrutiny, don't they? Bit of a zoom in on that. So, see, we'll even show you miniatures on this broadcast, even if they're not fantasy-based, if you go to the Andy and Rem Show server. Bit of exposure there.
Are these sort of new? Are these new orcs, but they're sort of future savage orcs?
They do. They look. I'm not sure if they come as standard that way. Maybe some conversion work going on. They could just be the new orcs. They do look tasty though. And then this is from Cedar, and more of the very colourful Stormcast that we've been seeing a lot lately.
I like that a lot.
Although there is a faithful Griffhound that comes with this model that hasn't been painted yet, apparently. So you have to take a few points off there.
Does that pass the zoom in? We're just zooming in on everyone's stuff.
Here we go.
Now.
Let's zoom in and scrutinise. Yes, we can confirm it's still very colourful at close range.
I really like that. I like the simplicity. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so if you're going to have your miniatures shown on this show,
It'll be cruelly.
yeah, you will be scrutinised at a point of view maybe 1,000 times stronger than the human eyeball and sent out in HD around the world. So be prepared. Let's have a look. Where are all these hundreds of extra pounds?
So sorry, but I have to.
Oh,
I
there
have
we
to go now.
It did just tick over. Well, it's time to end the show anyway.
There
So
you go.
that's
Look,
good
it's gone
timing.
up by £300 since the start.
I reckon that's directly because of Rem.
I reckon it is as well.
Rem.
So anyone who pledged during the show, don't forget to let us know, and I'll put you in the draw for the secret Andy mega bonus chicken bonanza.
Yes, you should do that.
There you go. And before we go as well,
Okay, guys.
any more
Love
words
you,
on the
bye.
Kickstarter? Is Remington just going to drop out
Just go
during the show?
I have to go. I'm an hour over time.
But you only got here an hour ago.
Love you, Missy. Bye.
Wow, look at that. He's totally ruined the layout. Oh, there we go. Fixed it again. Okay, so any parting words on the Kickstarter campaign?
Falling asleep. You should definitely check it out. I know I'm more cheesy and being like, yeah, it's the best thing ever, but I've worked very hard on it. You can see how tired I am. I've got like Steve Buscemi eyes going on. But yeah, have a little look through it. There's stuff from like £4 to £1 million. And you can always just chuck in for £1 and then the pledge manager later.
If someone does actually pledge for £1 million, would you be able to fulfil that on time?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So why not? Can you afford not to go in for £1 million? Is the question you should be asking yourself.
And even if you don't want the stuff, or you poor or just skint or whatever, just things like if you see it around anywhere, if you can just put a comment on it, that helps because it helps people see it, and it's that whole algorithm stuff. So yeah, like share it with a mate that you might go, oh, you do D&D, you might like this. That actually does a lot, and it's free. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching.
And it was a late start. Everyone's very, very tired, so we are going to have a quick look at the episode thumbnail there, while I thank the patrons personally. So those of you who support this channel financially and emotionally, spiritually. So the following people, thanks to Graham, Guy, Roshi, Brad, Tim, Raccoon, John, Cedar, Nicholas, Simon, Finn, and David. All of you wonderful human beings, and you keep this show afloat so that it can remain as the beacon of joy and hope for the masses during these dark, foggy, turbulent times, and guide them away from the rocks of ruin towards hobby enlightenment for the good stuff. You get the idea. Give me your money. What you've got left after pledging to definitely not Damsels on Kickstarter, of course. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to also subscribe to Remington's channel if you feel like it, even though he's slighted all of you by abandoning the show early and turning up heavily late as well. Also subscribe to Bad Squiddo on YouTube as well. Why not? For Sunday morning coffee and more. Don't forget, join the Andy and Rem Show Discord server, Facebook group. Follow everyone on Twitter. You know, Annie's got social media up to her eyeballs. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, probably everything. Any farewell words to the world?
Mostly just a yawn. Nighty night.
That's a good catchphrase actually there, Colin. Don't be a dummy. Give Andy your money. I'll have to factor that one in. So all that remains to be said at this point is, good night out there, whatever you are.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about